Yo guys, it's Rose. How you doing? Welcome to my MBA Season 2 Moonblast Division Draft Analysis. Couple of things before we get started. This league is ran by Haunch. We've been in a circle for a long time together, doing draft league stuff. This is his league, so I'll go ahead. I linked the Discord or something like that below. Go ahead, join that, show him some love. But I actually had the 8th overall pick out of, I think, 16 coaches in this season, so I really did not have a great pick. I really didn't. Or it was either 8 of, it might have been 8 of 12. But regardless, I had the 8th overall pick, right? So I knew I wasn't going to get anything super great, but I wasn't going to have to get anything terrible either. So with my first pick, as you can see right over to my left, I picked up Celesteela. I've used Celesteela a couple times. I've always done well with it. I've always paired it with something that really works with it. And this season is no different. Celesteela does a lot of things. It can be offensive. It can be defensive. It can be a stall mon, which I refuse to use it as a stall mon because I hate stall. It's awful. As I'm recording this, I just played a league match where in low tier where I was playing a kind of stally team that lasted 60 turns. I don't want to do that to people. Okay, so we're not going to do that. So it's going to be either defensive or it's going to be offensive or some sort of mix of the two. We'll figure it out as we go along. It's going to depend on week matchup. But yeah, this thing can do a few different things. It can be physical, it can be special, it can be offensive, defensive. You can run it leftovers, you can run it with a berry, you can run it with power or meteor beam shenanigans. I mean, look at these stats. These stats are great. They're very well rounded. They do a lot. The steel flying typing, really good defensive typing. It does a lot. It covers a lot of my weaknesses and what this thing gets in terms of move pool. I mean, it gets good flying stabs, it gets autotomized, so I can do that if I want to. I can run body slam, try and get some paras, earthquake, energy ball for stuff like Quagsires and Swamperts and stuff of that nature. I can run fire coverage, which is amazing. I can run flame charge. Maybe I do that. It gets flash cannon, giga drain, which is really good. Heavy slam. I mean, mega horn. Like, this thing gets so much superpower, which I always forget it gets, because it doesn't get ran, but maybe one day. But yeah, this thing gets a ton of stuff. I mean, look at this move pool. It's a pretty good move pool. It doesn't have a ton of coverage. It has enough coverage for what it needs, which is more, that is perfect. I don't need anything more than what it has. Next up, with my second pick, I took him on. So Celesteela really only has a few counters. It has, I would say it has maybe 5 counters tops. Maybe that's being, but generally speaking, right around 5 mons can really challenge Celesteela on the offensive sense. And my second pick is one of those mons. We got Zera Aura here. Zera Aura, it's I mean, you can see its stats right here. It's really fast. It has basically the same stat in terms of its attacking stats, 112 and 102. It's a really well-rounded mon, and then it's just got this 143 base speed tier, which makes it one of the fastest mons in the format. There's only a few things faster than it that are viable, like Ninjask is obviously faster than it. No one drafts Ninjask. It doesn't happen. So I'm not really worried about anyone running power or dig Ninjask on me, and I'm not worried about it. We're fine. But this thing as well, this thing can be ran offensive or more of a, not defensively, but it can be ran as a little bit of a stallmon. I've seen like sub-toxic protect Zera Aura, and I hate it. This thing, it gets some pretty good coverage as well. It gets acrobatics, aura sphere, blaze kick. I mean, it gets a ton of coverage here, as you guys can see. It gets play rough as well, which is actually really cool. But this mon really is one of the few mons that can check Celesteela to an extent, of course, because obviously Celesteela gets earthquake and can get it on the switch in. I think it does take 1 plasma fist and can earthquake it, so it can definitely check Zera Aura a little bit, but Zera Aura is really one of the few Pokemon that can somewhat comfortably check this, check Celesteela. So I'm really excited we got it because I like Zera Aura. I think it's really cool. It's underutilized. I think, it being one of the few counters means that Celesteela now has less switch-ins to it, which makes Celesteela that much better in our matchups. So we got Blitzkrieg, the Zera Aura this season. This cost me, I think it was 17 points for Zera Aura, which is a little high. I'm usually in like the 16 to 15 point range for it, but 17, I'm okay spending that extra little bit just so that way I don't have to worry about this against my Celesteela. Third overall pick, which this would have been coming back on me from the far side of the wheel. I got a mon that I really haven't used too much. I think I've used it once or twice. I used it in a doubles season with a good friend of mine, Bloody, but I really haven't used it much outside of that. I think I used it once or twice outside of that. We got Melodic. Now, Melodic, it's really good. As you can see, these stats are very, very, very good. You can see it's got really good bulk. It can hit relatively hard with that base 100 special attack stat, and it's really fast for a for a bulky Pokemon at base 81, so we don't have to worry about stuff like Clefable or anything like that outspeeding us. This thing as well, you can run some fun stuff with it. I have some stuff in mind. I don't want to spoil it right now, but this thing, as you can see, it does get some fun coverage moves. So I'm really excited to see what I can pull off with this thing. But yeah, so we got Aurora, our Melodic this season, and I'm really excited to use it. Now, this next Pokemon, it makes me so happy that we got this. I got it in the 4th round, which I was really surprised it lasted that long, because it's usually right around like low round 2, early round 3. So getting it in the kind of like middle of round 4 is amazing. I'm really happy that we got it. It's my favorite Pokemon. I love this thing. I've been using this thing for like a year and a half, like straight. I've drafted it almost every league almost for the last like year and a half. So I'm really excited that we got to use it again. That is going to be our good buddy, good pal, Kenmore the Rotom Heat, everybody. Welcome to the squad, my friend. Look, he's got his little jazz hands going. He's excited. You know, he's vibing. He's ready. He's ready to show up for us, and I'm really, really, really excited. So Rotom Heat does a lot of things. You can look at its stat spread right there. One thing you're going to notice with my team, a lot of the Mons function similarly in the sense that they can be defensive, they can be offensive, they can run some fun stuff, they can run some not so fun stuff. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with my team this season. I wanted to draft Mons that I didn't have to basically fit into one little spot, you know what I mean? I wanted to use Mons that can do a lot of different things. And so far, every Mon we've drafted can do that. The things that they can do are somewhat limited, but they have more than just like 1 or 2 options. They can do a bunch of different things. Like this thing, like the Rotom here, it cannot be physical. It gets like 5 physical moves, and it's base 65 attack stat. You can't run it physical. It just won't. You can run like Choice Banded Poltergeist, I guess, but realistically, it's not going to happen. You're not going to do that, right? But what this thing can do, I mean, it can remove rocks, it can switch out, it can throw off some Will-O-Wisps, some Thunder Waves, Toxics, it can trick off some stuff, whatever item you want to run, like Toxic Orb Trick or something, and you can do that for you. Or Flame Orb Trick as well, which kind of allows you to keep it on for longer and use it later when it's more convenient instead of just right away, essentially. It gets Shadow Ball Signal. It doesn't get spectacular coverage. In fact, its coverage is pretty garbage, right? Especially because Hidden Power is banned, so it really limits my coverage, which honestly, I'm fine with Hidden Power being banned. I don't love Hidden Power. I don't hate Hidden Power. It's fine. If it's banned, it's banned. If it's not, it's not. I don't really care. But this thing can do a lot of different things. I'm really excited to use it. Like I said, this is my favorite Mon, and I've been asked a couple times why this is my favorite Mon, and it's my favorite Mon because of draft format. I drafted it for the first time about almost 2 years ago, I think, at this point. I drafted it in the FPL. I want to say like season 2 or season 3. I drafted it, something like that, when it was my first season in that league. This thing did so well. Like, this thing carried my ass. Like, it just absolutely just, it carried me to the playoffs, and I was this close. I was one Icicle Crash miss away from, like, honestly, if I hadn't, in the first round of playoffs, I missed an Icicle Crash with my Galarian Darmanitan. If I had landed that Icicle Crash, I won the match. That's, like, without this thing, that probably wouldn't have happened. I'm so excited to use this thing. I'm gonna make it shiny because I like shiny Pokemon. But next up, round 5, I took this thing a little early. I feel like I probably could have waited a little bit, but I needed a bulky grass type. I needed something to check ground types, like Zygarde. Zygarde was a problem for me at this point, right? I didn't have anything that checked Zygarde because 1000 Arrows one-shots Rotom Heat 90% of the time unless I'm running like Max Fizdef Shucka Berry, right? That's the only time I live a hit. And it's not comfortably. Zera Aura cannot take on a Zygarde. It just can't. Celesteela, maybe. I don't fucking know. Maybe it does. I hopefully don't have to find out because I don't think anyone's drafted Zygarde. I almost drafted Zygarde just so I didn't have to deal with it. Like, I really did not want to deal with Zygarde. I was terrified of it. But this next Mon can kind of, to an extent, it deals with Zygarde. It deals with it on the ground type side of things. We got Celebi. We got Onion the Celebi. Now, Celebi, it can do a few different things. It can do a few different things. It's got U-Turn. It's got Stealth Rocks. You can Baton Pass, which I don't remember if stat passing is allowed. I don't think it is, so I don't plan on stat passing, okay? Haunch, or any of the mods, if you're watching this, I'm not planning on stat passing. Please take my word for it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. With Natural Cure and U-Turn, this actually is going to be really, really good. It can be physical or special. I didn't even know it got dual wing beat. This thing gets dual wing beat? Since fucking when? Since when does this thing get dual wing beat? I didn't know that, but that's okay. Got Earth Power, Energy Ball. I mean, this thing does a lot. Nasty Plot. I can Perish Trap people. It has reliable recovery. It's got, this thing can do some stuff. It can set up Trick Rooms. You guys ready for some Trick Room shenanigans? But I'm really excited to use Celebi. I've used it a couple, I think I've only used it, like I said, once or twice, but I'm really, really excited for that. I'm excited to give it another shot. I didn't have a whole lot of success the last time I used it. Like I said, I didn't get a whole lot of time to use it because I think that either the league folded or I just, like, this is back when I first started out, so I could have very well just quit and been like, I'm sorry, I really don't want to be here anymore. I was that person. I know, I'm horrible. I used to be that way. I'm not anymore. I finish it out unless, like, there's some real life stuff going on, so no matter what, whether I'm having fun or not, doesn't matter. Next up, we got something that I'm actually really excited for. I really only used it, I think I'm using a lot of mods this season that I've either never used, I've hardly used. Yeah, it's either like I've hardly used them or I haven't used them. Now there are a couple mods like, you know, Rotom Heat and Celesteela I've used a handful of times or I've used a lot, and I know those mods very well, so I grabbed those to make me using these newer mods easier on me. Next up, we got Crackpipe the Weezing. Galarian Weezing to be specific. This thing, so good. It's a really good mon. It is. It's got 3 different abilities. All 3 of these are pretty viable in my opinion. The least viable is Misty Surge, in my opinion. I don't love Misty Surge. With being able to toxic stuff, that's really important in draft format, I feel like. Getting stuff to whittle down via Will-O-Wisp or toxic or whatever. Basically not being able to do that because of an ability is kind of frustrating. That's why I don't love Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini's cool and all. It's really good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't love it, right? Regardless, Levitate and Neutralizing Gas are going to be like the main abilities, and Misty Surge is kind of like a niche one. Excuse me, I just bitch slapped my microphone. Anyway, this thing gets a good bit of coverage. It is a cleric. It does get aromatherapy, which is really nice. That's the first cleric, I think, unless... Yeah, no, this thing does, or I think it gets Heal Bell, actually. Does Celebi get Heal Bell? It does. I knew that, totally. But this is our second cleric, which is good. This is going to be like, we don't have a ton of like reliable clerics. We really only have one reliable cleric, and then we have a couple of mons that can kind of function as clerics if need be. But this thing can do a lot of different things. It's got, you know, like I said, I got aromatherapy, clear smog. I can run physical curse, which I actually have seen. I have seen physical curse Weezing. Probably won't do it, but I've seen it. It's got it's a defogger as well, which is great. Gives me more removal. I think otherwise right now my only removal is Rotom, which isn't great as only having one remover. So having another one that can kind of function more as a remover, that's great. It gets Haze, it gets Overheat, Memento for some shenanigans. I mean, this thing's got a lot of stuff. You can see this is going to be my main like physical check to a lot of stuff, especially fighting types. Fighting types, because they're quad resist, they're stab. And a lot of fighting types, they get like Earthquake and they get this and they get that. That's fine, whatever. You know, go ahead and do that, right? I don't care. Because if you run Earthquake, I could have Levitate. I could have Neutralizing Gas for something else. Like, I can do a few different things here. Really excited to use it. Excited to give it another shot. Like I said, the last time I used it, didn't go very well, but we're all about second chances here, right? Excuse my dogs. They wanted to be, you know, they wanted to make their presence known, dickheads. That's right. They're lovable little shits. It's fine. Don't worry about them. They're good people. Say hello. Say hello. This is Choo-Choo. He is good boy. He is precious boy. We're gonna move on with our next Pokemon here. Demo the Tyrantrum. This is nicknamed after a friend of mine. Look at this fucking attack stat. 121 with the potential for Rockhead Head Smashes. Rockhead Head Smash. So I'm not taking recoil by clicking Head Smash. So the only thing I lose by clicking Head Smash is the ability to miss. That's it. And really, who gives a shit? I'm clicking Head Smash. I'm bound to miss at some point. One thing you guys are going to find out very quickly, I have the worst luck out of any Pokemon player that has ever existed. Jalen, he is editing my videos. Thank you, God, so much. Thank you, Jalen. I appreciate it. He edits my Pokemon videos. And if I'm right, Jalen, go ahead, put like, I don't know, some text or like a clip or something telling them that like, I am the unluckiest motherfucker on planet Earth.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for that because this man is absolutely unlucky. I have mocked this man like 8 times throughout, like, you know, me begging him for mocks for my leagues. And I promise you, the absolute unthinkable happens every single time. He is very unlucky. He kind of competes with like OG Galbina on how unlucky of a player he really is. Let's be honest.
It's so bad. It's really bad. Like, I remember 4 years ago when I started doing draft league format, my first league match ever, it was on the first turn of my first league match ever in Gen 7, I got frozen with Ice Punch on my Dredagon and was essentially forced to use it as a rough skin Rocky helmet sack. But this thing gets some pretty decent coverage. It gets close combat, gets crunch, gets Dragon Dance, which is fun. I can run Dragon Dance shenanigans, do all the fun stuff. It is pretty slow, base 71 speed, but that's okay, because this gives me a really good wall breaker for those lower tier speed mons like Clefable, Corviknight, all that lower tier speed stuff. This thing just clicks Adamant Banded Head Smash and just OHKOs something. It really does. It just OHKOs things. It's really great. Gets other coverage, Earthquake, Fire Fang, Ice Fang, gets Play Rough, Psychic Fang. Like, it just gets so many different things. It could actually take hits a little bit. Not on the special side. You want to Moonblast me? I will die. But you want to, I don't know, close combat me? I might live. I have base 119 defense stat. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? But we only have a couple more mons left in our arsenal. So we took Licky Licky. Licky Licky, I mean, you can see it does so many different things. Gets all these abilities are great. 2 abilities immune to Intimidate, 1 that completely shuts down weather. And I think there's a couple of weather teams. I think there's 2. I think there's a rain and a hail team. I could be wrong. It might be. I have no idea. I don't remember off the top of my head. But if there is someone that wants to run weather, I can just use Licky Licky and be like, no, sorry, not gonna happen. This thing gets some great coverage, and considering both of its attack stats are pretty decent, like being base 85 in attack and 80 in special attack, that's not bad. That's not terrible. This thing can do a lot. I mean, you can run like sub focus punch, I think. Yeah, sub focus punch. You could do something stupid like that. You can run Curse, you can run Swords Dance, you can run, I mean, there's Power Whip, there's Thunder. You can do a lot of stuff with this. You can run, this is another Cleric, so you got Wish Heal Bell here. This is going to be more likely than not my dedicated Cleric for most weeks, just because this thing is so fat. I mean, look at these. Like, it's such a good mon defensively. There's not a whole lot that can just straight up one-shot it, and I can just wish off whatever damage they do, and it's great. Really excited to use Spectrum, our Licky Licky. That is a reference. I gotta make this clear. That is a reference to the internet company, because the symbol on Licky Licky looks like a Wi-Fi symbol. That is why I named it Spectrum. There is no other reason. Don't cancel me. Take it as you will, but that is why I named it that. I can name it after a different internet company. I can do Comcast. I can do whatever. But Spectrum, I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. Last but not least, our last mod's gonna be Sandaconda. It's got a couple of pretty good abilities, Sand Spit and Shed Skin. I don't have anything that really takes advantage of the sand, which is fine. I don't need anything to take advantage of sand. I got really dogged on in the power rankings. I got put second to last, which I think is a travesty because this team is really good. My speed tiers are garbage. I understand that. But when you have a team that meshes this well together, that functions this well together, I don't think speed tiers are going to matter. I've made it clear in previous drafts where I've drafted really slow teams, and then I just have one mon that's pretty fast. And I made it, in another low tier league, I made it to finals with not a single mon over base 100. I had like 10 mons, and every single one of them, I had one mon at base 100, everything else was like base 85 or lower. Like, I had a really slow team, and I made it to finals. So you want to talk about me? Like, my friends give me shit all the time for drafting slow teams. And then when I draft like 3 fast Pokemon, they're like, oh my god, he drafted speed. Oh my god, he drafted speed. Guys, sound the alarm. He drafted speed. Holy shit. And they just don't let it go. Right? But I'm like, you know what? I don't need speed. Speed is over fucking rated. I'm sorry. I said it. Speed is overrated. In some instances, it's better to have some speed. That's why I drafted Zera Aura. That's my speedy boy. He can check most fast things. And yeah, most stuff, pretty much everything can run Adamant or Modest. That's fine. My team is bulky enough. That doesn't fucking matter. We're good. I'm good. All right, we got time. We are vibing, okay? We're not worried about no fucking choice bandit. No, we don't care. We're good. We're bulky enough. We're fine. All right? But Sandaconda gets pretty good coverage, gets Coil, which is really cool. Gets things like Body Press, which takes advantage of Coil. Gets, obviously Earthquake. Gets Glare, really good. Gets Hurricane. Wait, this thing gets Hurricane? I did not know this thing got Hurricane. I've never used this before, so I did not know this thing got Hurricane. I really just was like, you know what? I can just run Rest, Coil, Earthquake, Stone Edge shenanigans and not fucking worry about it. And I'll be fine. It gets Outrage too. That's really funny. Iron Head. I mean, this thing gets a lot of coverage. I mean, its coverage isn't actually, I scratch that. The coverage is not great, but it is good enough to where I'm not worried about it. Sandaconda, it may not be the best Pokemon in the format, but it's a relatively cheap ground type that can set up and sweep a little bit, especially on those slower mons, just the same as Tyrantrum can. Both being base 71 speed. I mean, look at, like, their stats are pretty similar for the most part. It's just having a ground type is so vitally important because of the fact that electric types are so good. So having a good ground type is really, really, really important. Now, I did not get the best ground type in the format, but I didn't get, like, you know, a really garbage ground type, like I'm trying to think of a crappy ground type. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Stunfisk. Stunfisk isn't. It's not garbage, but it's always in like the 3, 4, 5 point range, and something like that is not gonna be a great check for electric types, for the most part, because it's gonna get whittled down by X, Y, and Z, right? It's gonna get whittled down by a lot of stuff, and considering like Raikou and Raichu and, you know, those mons, they get water coverage. Stunfisk I don't love in that retrospect as a electric type check. But that is our draft analysis for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really, really appreciate it. I know I rambled on a lot, but hey, you know what? I like to talk. Why do you think I do YouTube, right? Why do you think I do YouTube? If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comment section below. I'll try and be as responsive as possible. I can't promise anything, but I will try. I will try my best. Go ahead. Let me know what you think our record is going to be, actually. Go ahead. I think this is a 9-week season. It's either 9 or 11 weeks. It's always right around there. So I think we're not going undefeated. I'm telling you right now, we're not going undefeated. If we go undefeated, it's a fucking miracle. I don't know what happened. My guess, if it's 11 weeks, I'm guessing 7-4. If it's 9 weeks, I'm gonna guess 6-3. I think regardless, I'm gonna be a contending team. Because what I find is every single time I'm at the bottom or near the bottom of the power rankings, I do very well because I have to prove everyone wrong. When I'm at the top of the power rankings, I do so horribly because I'm like, oh, you know what? I have a good team. They agree with me. I don't, you know, it's not that big a deal. So me being the second to last in power rankings, y'all fucked up. Y'all done fucked up. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead, follow me on Twitter at RosaryG, capital R, capital G. Go ahead, follow me on Twitch at RosaryGod2, capital R, capital G, the number 2, where I'll next week, or I guess this week when it goes up, because I'm hoping to have this up in the next couple of days, by the time I'm recording this, I'm going to be streaming Monday to Friday, to try and get to affiliate on Twitch. So, at 4 p.m. Eastern, most of the time, I'm probably going to be streaming my Pokemon Y Nuzlocke, which I've already done 3 streams with. So if you haven't caught those, go ahead. The VODs are on my Twitch channel. You can rewatch those and catch up to speed. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to show me some love. And you know what? I think we're out of here. Have a good one, you guys.